Daniel walked past me without even a glance. His expensive leather shoes clicked against the pavement, the same rhythm I used to wake up to every morning for 6 years. I sat hunched on the corner of Fifth and Market, wrapped in 3 layers of torn jackets, a wool cap pulled low over my face, and dirt I'd carefully applied that morning to look authentic. My hand shook as I held out a paper cup, not from cold but from rage. He didn't recognize me. Why would he? The last time Daniel saw me, I was his wife, wearing the pearl earrings he bought me for our anniversary. The ones he claimed cost $2,000, but I later found the receipt for $49.95 at a discount store. That should have been my first clue. But I didn't see it then. I saw what I wanted to see. A successful architect husband who loved me, who promised we'd build our dream home together on that land outside the city. I worked double shifts at the hospital for 3 years, saving every penny, $68,000. Gone, all of it transferred to an account I never knew existed. By the time I discovered the affair with his assistant Vanessa, the money had already disappeared into their new business venture. A boutique architecture firm, built with my savings. My lawyer said I had no case because technically the account was joint. Daniel knew exactly what he was doing. The divorce took 4 months. He got the car, the downtown condo his parents helped us buy, and apparently my dignity. I got $14,000 in debt from legal fees and his parting words. Maybe if you'd been more fun, I wouldn't have needed to look elsewhere. I'd been watching him for 3 weeks before he finally started noticing me. Not recognizing me, just noticing the beggar who seemed to appear wherever he went. Outside his favorite coffee shop on Monday mornings, near the parking garage where he kept his BMW on Wednesday afternoons, by the Korean restaurant where he took clients on Fridays. I never asked him directly for money. That would have been too obvious. Instead, I positioned myself where his guilt, if he had any, would force him to see me. To notice that the same person was always there, always struggling, always invisible to people like him. Daniel's routine was predictable. He left his apartment at 7:45 each morning, grabbed an overpriced latte from Brewster's, then headed to the office. Lunch at 1, usually at that sandwich place on 8th. Gym at 6. Home by 8 unless he had a date with Vanessa, which happened 3 times a week. I knew his schedule better than he did. I'd been documenting everything in a notebook I kept hidden under my sleeping bag. Times, locations, who he talked to, what he wore, even what he ordered for lunch. My nursing training taught me attention to detail, patterns, symptoms, how to spot when something was wrong before the patient even knew. Daniel was about to become my most challenging case. On day 23 I left my first message, a note tucked under his windshield wiper. Simple, handwritten, "I see you." Nothing more. I watched from across the street as he found it, read it, looked around confused, then crumpled it up and threw it away. The second note came 5 days later, placed inside his gym locker while he was in the shower. "You can't hide from what you did." I'd gotten into the gym using a stolen membership card I found in a wallet someone carelessly left at the bus stop. The locker combination was easy. Daniel used the same 4 digits for everything. Our old anniversary date. How sentimental. I watched him through the window of a cafe across the street as he discovered it. His face went pale. He looked around the locker room, demanding to know who'd been in his locker. The gym staff checked the cameras, but I'd been careful. Hood up, face down, moving like I belonged there. The third message appeared on his car again. "Vanessa doesn't know about the others." There weren't actually others, not that I knew of, but doubt is a powerful weapon. I wanted him questioning everything, trusting nothing. By week 5, Daniel had changed his routine. He started looking over his shoulder, taking different routes home, checking his car before getting in. Perfect. Paranoia was setting in exactly as I'd planned. I varied my locations too, never following the exact same pattern twice. Sometimes I'd be outside his building, other times near his parents' house in the suburbs. Once I sat outside the restaurant where he proposed to me 7 years ago. He walked right past, heading inside for a business dinner. I wondered if he even remembered. The notes kept coming, short, vague, threatening enough to unsettle but not enough to take to police. "They know what you took. Count your blessings while you can. She's watching." Daniel hired a private investigator in week 6. I knew because I watched him meet the man at a downtown cafe. Tall guy, grey suit, looked like every other pie trying to seem mysterious. They talked for 40 minutes. Daniel showed him the notes, gestured frantically, kept looking around like I might be watching. I was, from inside a parked van I'd borrowed from Mac, my younger brother and only ally in this plan. Mac hated Daniel almost as much as I did. He'd wanted to handle this the violent way, show up at Daniel's door with friends and baseball bats. But I talked him down. Violence was too quick, too easy. I wanted something that lasted. "You're insane," Mac had said when I first explained my plan. "You're going to live on the streets, pretend to be homeless, for what?" "For justice," I told him. "He stole everything from me. I want him to feel what it's like to lose everything too." Mac agreed to help, but only if I promised not to do anything that would land me in jail. I promised. I didn't tell him about the other parts of my plan, the parts that went beyond notes and paranoia. The pie Daniel hired was named Troy Beckham. I knew because I'd hired him first, 2 weeks before Daniel even thought about getting help. Cost me $800 I didn't have, put it on a credit card I'd never be able to pay off, but it was worth it. Troy was feeding Daniel useless information, chasing ghost leads, basically taking his money while reporting everything back to me. Every conversation, every suspicion, every theory Daniel had about who might be stalking him. "He thinks it might be someone from work," Troy told me over a burner phone. "Keeps mentioning this guy he fired last year, thinks maybe he's seeking revenge." "Perfect," I said. "Keep him thinking that, make him paranoid about everyone at the office." Troy hesitated. "You know I can't keep this up forever, eventually he'll want results." "Then give him results, wrong ones." I started phase 2 the next morning. Daniel's work email was easy to access. He'd written his password on a sticky note inside his desk drawer at home. I'd photographed it months ago before the divorce. Back when I still had keys to our condo. Back when I was still trying to save our marriage like a fool. The password still worked. People are creatures of habit. I started small, moved emails to different folders, changed a few meeting times in his calendar, sent one message to a client that sounded professional but was just slightly off in tone, nothing obvious, just enough to make things feel wrong. Then I got bolder, cancelled a major presentation meeting, sent the cancellation from Daniel's email at 3 in the morning. By the time he got to work and realized what happened, the client was furious. Daniel swore he never sent it. The IT department found nothing wrong. The email came from his account, from his computer's IP address. Because I'd sent it from his laptop, the one he kept at home, the one I could access remotely because he'd never changed the default remote access settings. Vanessa left him in week 9. I didn't even have to do much there. Just sent her screenshots of Daniel's dating app profile, the one he thought he'd deleted but was still active. She confronted him at the office, loud enough that 3 people heard them fighting. "You're still looking," she screamed, "after everything I gave up for you." Daniel tried to explain, said it was a mistake, someone must have reactivated his account. But doubt, once planted, grows fast. Vanessa moved out that weekend. I watched her load boxes into her car from my usual spot across the street. Daniel spiraled faster after that, started drinking more. I could see the bottles piling up in his recycling. His work performance declined. Missed deadlines, forgotten meetings, projects that fell apart. His boss called him in for a serious conversation. Troy told me everything. "They're thinking about letting him go," Troy said. "He's become unreliable." "Good. Look, I need to know, how far are you planning to take this?" "All the way." I hung up before he could ask more questions. The financial attack started in week 10. I knew Daniel's social security number, his mother's maiden name, all his security question answers. I'd been his wife for 6 years. I knew everything. I started with small fraud alerts. Called his bank claiming suspicious activity on his account. They froze his cards for 48 hours. When he got it sorted, I did it again with a different card. Then his credit cards. Then I filed a fake police report about identity theft using his information. His credit score dropped 100 points in 2 weeks. Between the fraud alerts, missed payments from frozen accounts, and suspicious activity flags I kept triggering, Daniel's financial life became chaos. The money he'd stolen from me, the $68,000 sitting in his business account, I found it. Took me weeks of digging through old documents, tracking transfers, following digital breadcrumbs. The account was in his name only, but I had enough information to convince the bank I was authorized. I didn't take it all at once. That would have been too obvious. Instead, I transferred it in small chunks to different accounts. 5,000 here, 3,000 there, made it look like someone was bleeding him slowly. By the time Daniel noticed, 30,000 was gone. He went to the police, filed a report. They investigated and found nothing. The transfers all appeared legitimate, made from his computer with his passwords passing all security checks. How could he prove someone else did it? His business partner, a man named Kyle, started asking questions. Where was the money going? Why were clients complaining? Why had 3 major projects fallen through? Daniel had no good answers. Kyle dissolved their partnership in week 12. Just like that, the business they'd built with my money gone. I watched Daniel's life collapse piece by piece and I felt nothing. No guilt, no satisfaction, just cold efficiency. This was surgery, removing a cancer. By week 13, Daniel looked like a different person. Thinner, pale, exhausted. He stopped going to the gym, stopped getting fancy coffee, started taking the bus because his BMW got repossessed when he missed 3 payments. I almost felt sorry for him, almost. Then I remembered coming home early one day, 14 months ago, and finding him in our bed with Vanessa. Remembered him not even apologizing, just annoyed that I'd interrupted. Remembered him saying I was boring, predictable, that he'd felt trapped for years. The pity vanished. I'd installed cameras in his apartment weeks ago. Tiny things hidden in smoke detectors and outlets. Mac helped me break in while Daniel was at work. We were in and out in 20 minutes. Through those cameras I watched Daniel unravel, saw him packing at night talking to himself, crying, saw him pull out old photos of us, stare at them for hours. Once I heard him say my name. Claire, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Too late. One night he sat on his couch and spoke directly to the empty room. I know you're doing this, whoever you are, I know this isn't random. I know I hurt someone, I just don't know who. He was close, so close to figuring it out. I decided it was time. I chose a rainy Tuesday evening. Daniel's routine had degraded so much he barely had one anymore, but he still walked through the park near his apartment around 8. Maybe trying to clear his head, or maybe just too afraid to stay inside. I waited on the bench where we had our first date. Poetic, I thought. He walked past once without noticing me. I'd shed most of my disguise, still wore old clothes, but my face was visible now. Hair pulled back, features clear. Daniel, I said quietly. He stopped, turned, looked at me confused. Do I know you? I stood up, stepped into the streetlight, let him see. Recognition hit him like a physical blow. His face went white. His mouth opened but no sound came out. Claire, he finally whispered. Hello, Daniel. It was you, all of it. The notes, the money, everything. Everything, I confirmed. He collapsed onto the bench, head in his hands. Why would you do this? You really have to ask. The divorce, we're divorced, it's over. You got your share and I got mine. I laughed, actually laughed. My share, you stole $68,000 from me, money I saved for years. You used it to start a business with the woman you cheated with. Then you had the nerve to tell me I wasn't fun enough. I was going to pay you back. Liars. Daniel tried to stand, but his legs wouldn't support him. He looked up at me, and for the first time since I'd known him, I saw genuine fear. What do you want? I don't have anything left. You took everything. No, I said calmly. You took everything from me first. I just returned the favor. The difference is I earned what I had. You stole it. I'll go to the police. Tell them what you did. Go ahead. Tell them your ex-wife who you left penniless somehow orchestrated an entire revenge plot while pretending to be homeless. Tell them she hacked your accounts, broke into your apartment and destroyed your life. See if they believe you. He knew they wouldn't. I could see it in his eyes. You're insane, he whispered. Maybe I'm just someone who finally stopped letting people walk all over her. I turned to leave. Claire, wait. I stopped but didn't turn around. I'm sorry, I really am. I know I hurt you. I know I was selfish and cruel. But this, what you've done, it's worse. Now I turned. Is it? Because from where I'm standing you got exactly what you deserved. You're broke, alone, and nobody trusts you. Welcome to my world, Daniel. Welcome to what you left me with. I walked away and didn't look back. 11. Daniel tried to expose me just like I knew he would. Went to the police with his theories, his suspicions, his proof that someone had systematically destroyed his life. They listened politely and did nothing. Without evidence, without witnesses, without anything concrete, I was just his bitter ex-wife. And he looked exactly like what I'd made him look like, a man having a breakdown. His family stopped talking to him. His father, who'd always been proud of his architect's son, couldn't understand how Daniel had let everything fall apart. His mother tried to help, but Daniel pushed her away, paranoid that I'd somehow gotten to her too. I didn't need to. Daniel was destroying those relationships himself. Meanwhile, I rebuilt, got my nursing license reinstated, found a good job at County General, started paying off my debts. Mac helped me move into a small apartment, nothing fancy but it was mine, earned with my own money, not stolen from someone else. Sometimes I'd see Daniel around the city, usually near the courthouse dealing with his bankruptcy case, or outside the temp agency looking for work. Once I saw him sitting on the same corner where I used to pretend to beg. He never saw me, I made sure of that. I'd learned how to be invisible. 6 months after that night in the park, I heard through mutual acquaintances that Daniel had moved away. Left the city entirely, started over somewhere else. I hoped he'd learned something, probably not. Revenge isn't about hurting someone, it's about making them face the consequences they spent so long avoiding. It's about justice when the system fails you. It's about taking back what was stolen, even if you have to steal it back. Daniel took everything from me once. I made sure he understood what that felt like. And I'd do it again.